whoever comes out on top from this is the one that can win it. eUnited and SK both have one game. So let's go ahead and get those picks and bans ready for you up on the screen. And I'm wondering, maybe try and get something better for IceIce here. I mean, it's hard to beat Achilles. It's very good, but he had some struggles here in this game. He wasn't able to find the execute targets that you'd expect from the Achilles or get that early pressure. Do you want to see him on something different, or maybe just try it again and they need to execute better?
I think the Achilles also had a tough time matching the mobility from the Thanatos in the early game. That was another reason why we oftentimes saw Sam outpacing IceIceBaby in general. I mean, most of the time that they would clean up the kill onto Variety, when you looked at the rest of the map, there wasn't anybody near the solo lane in time to look for a possible counter punish there up against SK. So I'm right there with you, Finch. I think the Nemesis in game 1 had a lot of really strong mobility. It gave IceIceBaby a lot of different chances, I think, to find openings into the backline, to find ways to just separate the team fight in general. And that's something that Achilles can accomplish if he gets off to a strong start. But up against a Thanatos and a Camazotz, that's going to be tough to match.
A blistering pace so far, though, these picks and bans. These first 4 bans came in quite confidently. Xbalanque, Camazotz, and then they take away the King Arthur and the Merlin. That's immediately followed up by the first pick, Freya, for eUnited. But without any hesitation of their own, SK Gaming say, fine, give us Fafnir and give us the Achilles. We saw what Fafnir could do earlier with that Coerce. It took down a left side Phoenix like 18 minutes into the game, supporting their team. SK want to try something like that.
Fafnir also arguably one of the better Guardians for dealing with a Freya as well. He's got the disarm, and
nice.
Not only that, but he's also got the hammer stun outright. Can definitely cause a lot of problems for a Freya, just hitting her with slows and just trying to be a nuisance, really. And plus, you get to take the pick away from Collis. I don't think anybody will ever complain about getting to take Fafnir away from Collis.
No, not at all. Anything to limit his impact as Ardio comes in, trying to add the cripple to the equation. Remember, King Arthur already off the table, but that doesn't mean Ardio can't be strong. And they're going to follow that up with the Amuse and Cobb. So this is a very similar combination to what worked well for eUnited before, except they're missing this Fafnir. So I imagine it'll be Vetium back on the Freya and Amuse and Cobb then in the middle lane for Tings.
That's just about the only thing that's starting to make sense right now, Finch. But I can't say that this AMC is a sold pick for me just yet. I think that positionally, or the way you have to position on the AMC is just so tricky, especially when SK have already kind of showed what's on the table. They gave you the Achilles, they gave you the Fafnir. Now with the Hachiman locking in, that's just going to introduce even further ranged threats that eUnited are going to have to try and position around for both Freya and the Amuse and Cobb. I would like to see possibly a Geb or even a Kuzumbo for eUnited. Something with a lot of heavy control
Disrupt,
to let the hunters kind of do their own thing.
Something to try and buy them a little time, a little space, so they can get away from the Fafnir and the Achilles. I'm right there with you, Taco, as the Hachiman rounds this out to give them not just some safety, but it's a huge team fighting presence. If you're able to get multiple members of that mounted archery, it's a lot of damage, big slows on just about everyone. So this is a strong pick to round out that first pick phase for SK. And now we move into the bans, where Naja, as well as the Habwa, have been removed.
And SK probably... It's got to be nice when you're Paul and people are still having to ban away Habwa from you because of the fact that the pick is almost always viable when you have a Paul on your team.
Yeah, he's that good on the pick, isn't he? It was so crazy when he came in. I was so sure that like those kind of shenanigans weren't going to work at the SPL and Paul was going to get blown up, but he has really risen as one of the premier mid laners, and I think that eUnited are correct to respect him.
You know, I still have yet to see an 0-10 Paul game as well.
That's right, yeah.
We're all waiting for it right now.
He was 0-1 or something like that last game.
IceIceBaby seemed really confident in that statement, and I want to see him try and back it up.
Well, there's at least 2 more games, Taco. It could certainly still happen at this point, but maybe a little bit of hyperbole coming out there. So we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition as Inbots gets banned away by SK. Another pick that makes some sense to try and take off the board. And looking at this at the table, eUnited still need a jungler for sure, and then either a support or solo. Ardio can flex some there. And then over on SK, they still need a mid laner and then likely a solo laner. I imagine Achilles goes to the jungle, but it's still open-ended.
Robin's still also available this time around for
Yeah,
Soccer if he wants it. And I don't think that the Robin would be exclusive to Sam either. I think that there is still some potential for the Achilles to be interchangeable between Belair and Sam, but the Zhang Kui is just going to leave things open-ended. eUnited, or SK I should say, want to see the entirety of eUnited's composition before worrying about solidifying their jungler or solar.
Well, it's the same opening over here for eUnited, but theirs will be revealed much sooner. They'll have to do both these pick selections together, and so we'll know. Nemesis being hovered, she came through earlier, and IceIce looked very, very good on the picks. It wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. It's also a strong response to the Zhang Kui as well, to suddenly cut through all that tankiness. So if that one comes through, it would make a ton of sense.
The anti-Zhongger essentially is what Nemesis is often referenced to as, but with AMC in the mid lane, I am not certain that the Nemesis would have that initial burst kill potential that you're looking for. So I think that's part of the reason why we see eUnited kind of toying around with the idea of maybe shifting elsewhere. I love the idea of the Nemesis against the Zhang Kui, Achilles, and Fafnir, but I do have some concerns as far as the follow-up is concerned from eUnited, because there is a ton of mobility from SK minus the Zhang Kui. But a sprint or a shell, and I think that you can get him at least away from the Amuz and Cobb, who's probably meant to be the primary follow-up damage, since I'm expecting it to be BigManTingz again on the AMC.
A lot of consideration from eUnited. This on her very unlikely, I'm thinking, as they already have the Amuz and Cobb and the Freya. Nemesis makes some sense. You were just talking about how good it could be into this comp, and they'll need something to deal with some of the rest of this mobility. Maybe it's Finmer. Once that Brutalize lands, he kind of can stick to whoever he was on. So another strong pick that comes through, and then the Bellona to round it out. So that one's got to be going over to Belair with an Achilles then in the jungle for San Francisco. That is aggression from SK. Patako, you leaning either way after looking at these right now?
I'm definitely leaning a little bit more towards SK's side of things in comparison to eUnited. I just think that SK have a little bit more survivability, even with the introduction of Nemesis into eUnited's comp.
Well, let's see how it ends up working once these picks get into action. SK and eUnited here at that third game to see who gets the advantage and moves up 2-1 first. Let's get it over to the casters to get ready for the game.
SK Gaming coming off of their last win, certainly feeling good about this one.
They definitely are, and I think they predicted this Freya to be first pick. That's why they wanted to disconnect the Fafnir with it. That game number one, they're still having flashbacks of that 18.5-minute of Phoenix.
Certainly could be, so you got to keep that Fafnir out of the hands of what eUnited want to do. Vetium's been always a threat with this pick, so got to be careful, especially when she's strong, and we'll see how that really works out across the way. The Nemesis, though, into the Zhang Kui, I think is one of my favorite sort of counter matchups. Really, really clean stuff here I'm expecting out of the Nem.
That's kind of like the staple counter matchup in Season 2 Super Regionals, Nemesis into the Zhang Kui. A lot of it also came down to the Isis mitigating it with Circle of Protection. Not going to see it here today, however, for BigManTingz, because he's playing the Moose and Cobb.
Benji one more time. We'll be on the doggo here in the solo lane. We'll see how the big woof woof goes, to quote Gandhi.
I'm surprised that Big Man goes for a Moose and Cobb without Fafnir.
Okay.
I was surprised that they didn't pick Hachiman in that slot instead, because Hachiman was picked by SK immediately after the AMC.
Right.
At least you have the Heavenly Banner to synergize yourself and the Freya. Without a Fafnir, that's like your second go-to attack speed steroid. Just a little note.
Certainly something to think about. Our SK Gaming squad now being aggressive. Neilmah and Belair still dancing in the enemy jungle. Collis is here in the middle lane.
And you can't stop him.
There's a little bit of a tussle, but the speed buff will go undeterred.
So I'm like watching with bated breath of what Neil is about to do.
Sure.
Like, he goes in, he knows he's going to take poke, so he preemptively uses his potion at 100% health anyway, knowing that he needs to mitigate some of the damage going in. And even going to potentially steal some of the back camps, but no, just delaying IceIceBaby from getting it.
Just being real obnoxious there.
He got it.
Well, meanwhile, mid lane, certainly a different story here.
You don't want to waste your time hitting a support, but this is what Neil is forcing you to do at the end of the day. It's like, all right, you can either hit me, maybe get a kill, I'll stun you, I'll stall you as well, but I am delaying your experience per minute. Like, look at this, already 112 out of IceIceBaby. Now look at the other end, San Francisco, 384.
The leprechaun skin, oh so appropriate. But Paul taking out his direct opposition. BigManTingz gonna fall down. And Neilmah gets the blue buff. Oh, man.
Wait, did he? Can we look at the blue buff real quick?
I
want to
think he
see.
did.
I want to see if he stole it away, but a lot of trouble as Callus needed to get the last
Got
basic,
him.
and he survives the tower shot.
Man, this is obnoxious is the word.
He stole the blue buff. What?
This is the most obnoxious start that SK Gaming has been able to do here. Nemesis is still level 1, while SK's jungle is level 3. IceIceBaby cannot be thrilled at the moment. And this is just Neilmah. You know what it reminds me of? It's like some real childish like summer camp stuff where it's just like, I'm not touching you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not touching you.
The finger's like literally a centimeter away from the nose. But Neilmah is actually touching IceIceBaby. He's like forcing him to like make a decision. It's like, all right, do I hit the support? And I love this sprint pickup for the side of Neilmah because he used it at the blue buff. He knew like, I got the blue buff. I'm running away. He doesn't even go to pick it up. He probably could have, with the sprint, picked up the blue buff and ran away.
Smarter not to.
Definitely smarter not to, especially giving anything back to IceIceBaby because you want to keep him as low in the experience department.
Oh, yeah.
Is the whole idea of this strategy. Is you're allowing Sam to accelerate just to infinity and beyond, about to hit level 5 on the Achilles.
I mean, that's really what you see. We've seen it before when you camp the Hebo in the mid lane, right?
Sure.
You camp the Freya when she's over there in the carry role on the long lane. Well, here you're camping the Nemesis, even though she's in the jungle, so that she can't get off to a start to deal with what Paul's gonna do.
Benji up against Belair. Fenrir versus Bologna. Should go either way, honestly, at the end of the day, until some of these junglers start making a rotation.
Blink over the wall from Sam for soccer. Double stun is good, and the hammer's one better. IceIceBaby gets banned out here. He'll fall down for the first time. Good damage coming out from the guys on SK. 3-zip.
And Callus just can't make that same rotation that Neil is doing. SK are one step ahead of eUnited on every single turn. Belair still going to be successful with this game because Benji's jump is down.
And there's the jump away. Benji's still alive. Oh,
Close.
man.
Very
Benji just incredible. You can't kill him.
No, definitely not. He missed the Unchained, as we're seeing already the blue buff being stripped away yet again. This is not looking good for Benji. Similar story to when he was the Arthur, how he didn't have his blue buffs quite heavily.
Right.
A Fenrir without blue buff can't really clear the wave. He could still do things as long as he saves his mana in terms of killing you, but he can't do both without his blue buff.
Yeah, certainly has to pick and choose. Benji gonna get the totem of coup. I like this totem. So now that we've had it for a while and we've seen its mark on the game totally, as a solo laner, not as a caster, as a player, as a solo laner, do you like totem of coup?
Yeah, I need something to do in that solo lane at the end of the day. And if that means hitting the Totem of Coup with my Bologna Scourge just to get more sustain, I'm all about that life. Anything to make Bologna viable again.
Yeah, you're a big Bologna fan.
Well, honestly, she should be viable still with or without the Totem of Coup. I'm surprised more players aren't playing
50
her.
protections.
It's a lot of protection she
50
gets.
protections!
From the passive, from the ultimate that she gets,
Yeah,
being
that's what I'm
able
talking.
to Scourge like late game carries such as AMC and the Freya. She has plenty of viability, I think, in the SPL.
That's really, we've noted how tough sieging has become, and the rally here, the ultimate out of her, right? Eagles rally. 50 protections in the circle at max rank. Being able to jump on somebody's Phoenix and just provide all that protection for your team.
Ooh.
Very big. Sammy gonna get on out of there, no problem. Neilmah. Again, just
He doesn't even care about BigManTingz. He's like, yo,
Just
IceIce. Yo, IceIce, give me a hug, buddy. Come here.
just walking. Neilmah actually gonna take a lot of damage. I don't know if I love all this.
I'm not sure
Answer
what
from
the...
around the world.
So he's still just trying to delay IceIceBaby from farming. That's what it is. Like, Sanford Soccer is level 6, about to hit level 7. Nice little juke from IceIce to prevent the hammer stun. And that's the whole intentions for Neilmah. He doesn't care if he takes 75% health pool if he can delay IceIceBaby from farming for literally 5 seconds. That's the resource he's playing with, his own health bar to delay the experience.
Yeah. It's something I say a lot when I talk about other games is you want to use your health bar or your health total as a resource. And here we see the support player doing just that, trading out health for experience per minute, essentially. Left side, the Valkyrie's discretion already used. Vetium finds the whoop and will escape to safety. Vetium's so powerful in this character. Being able to 180 banish is so important to playing Freya. If you can't picture where the player is in your mind and just get the 180 quick banish, you are such a different player than those that can.
And this is what makes Smite kind of also a skill shot game, the flick abilities that
absolutely.
you need to hit. So the combined genres of games between a MOBA, an MMO almost feeling, as well as an FPS, it's just like, that's what actually drew me into Smite way back in 2012.
Same. I mean, I'm an old school kid playing Counter-Strike from when I grew up, right? And watching the auto aim and auto attack of some of the other games that were, you know, on the market back then just weren't doing it for me. And then, well, I watched Zapman miss a couple of skill shots, and I was like, all right, that's the game I want to play. In Zap's defense, he then went out and soloed the guy that he had messed up. But nah, it was definitely an attractive spot here. And now, so many years later, what a change, man. We were watching tournaments from our bedrooms, and now LAN in Atlanta, all culminating at DreamHack later on, and just cameras, lights, action. What a glow up for real. The 6th season of the SPL, my opinion, just the damn best.
That's right. 7 years in Smite's history in general, 6 in the SPL. Sanford Soccer actually avoids the stinger at the last second.
Oh! Benji with the fetch puts Sanford Soccer down. Now trying to take on 1 versus 3. Could be rough for Benji, but here comes the ultimate out of the mid lane mage. Paul unleashing the demons and jumping over Callus's Belair. Able to hit 1. Neilmah. Just chase IceIce. Neil's going to fall out of the transformation and will die. And the Nemesis gets their revenge. 4 kills to 2 as eUnited try to climb back into this one down 1,000 gold.
I don't think Benji can defend his own blue buff at all. BigManTingz without his ultimate, he's asking for a bad time, honestly, if he keeps moving forward, but has the mobility with those hives. Sanford Soccer getting the last basic attack, punishing an aggressive IceIceBaby.
Beautiful play there. Just everything we want to see. BigManTingz taking a bunch of damage from that exorcism, though. You notice it took half of the carry's HP?
I'm surprised that IceIceBaby actually went for that blue buff invade, knowing that Sanford Soccer was still around that corner, and without Divine Judgment, being in combat from doing the blue buff, there's no escape for the Nemesis. Even with a double dash, Sanford Soccer has his own double dash available to him.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts here. SK still a little bit of a command of the moment, wanting to pressure that forward, but unable to really figure out where, I feel like, is SK Gaming. Right side, Belair still dealing with what Benji's able to do, but Benji's looked really strong on the Fenrir so far.
He doesn't really care, having his Blackthorn's hammer, having cooldown reduction to match out Belair with the Berserker Shell. A little bit of action there from Vetium. Misses out the whoop, actually. Meanwhile, Callus targeting out Neilmah instead of Zapman. This is where SK can be hyper-aggressive. Look at all that poke onto that dueling.
And here comes Sam from around the back line.
It's go time.
Vetium right into the air, and the Bear Mom going to stop Sam for Soccer. A nice deterrent. And it was really just a little ward there from eUnited that allowed them to stay alive. Wards win wars, friends. eUnited able to thwart that attempt. Benji looking for the clear.
Yeah, that's right. He does have Ragnarok, so that could have been a kill potentially, or maybe even forcing out the Eagles rally if he was able to catch the Brutalize at the last given moment. But because some of the changes to Fenrir, it's been more successful, I think, in the soul lane, having that Brutalize hit in the AoE.
Sam, you're on a ward. Everyone knows you're there. Vetium gonna show him the hard way. Good kill for the Freya player. Callus very low. Zapman dashing forward, trying to find IceIceBaby. Neilmah's here as well in the dragon form. Long-range shots at Zap are good. Zap doesn't have the ultimate, so won't be able to go for it.
Look at Paul.
Oh, Paul from the back line. Tosses out the card. The exorcism is good as well. Stun for the extra effect. The left side tower, not likely to go down. Nice Aegis there to avoid some of Vetium's damage.
Oh, the turnaround play! Paul knew he was dead to right, so what does he do? He 180s right onto Vetium. Great recognition from Paul.
Really strong play. He even uses the ultimate, so it will be on cooldown, but I'm loving the good Zhang play. 3-1 and 2 here for the big boy. As SK Gaming ding, lucky number 7, just 11.5 in.
Belair continuing to be a bully now that he has the tier 2 Iron Mail available to himself, making himself have that health and the physical protection. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up Guardian Mail, trying to mitigate a lot of the attack speed of the Nemesis, Amusin, including the Freya.
Belair right now going to be jumped on by Benji and still being aggressed on. Meanwhile, mid lane, Sam for Soccer jumping out of the way. And there's the jump onto Belair. 1, 2, 3 will be canceled. Belair jumps to safety underneath the tower. Belair not willing to chase past the tier 2.
If Benji was the one taking that tower originally, IceIceBaby gets that kill, guaranteed. But unfortunately, not having that luxury, Benji without the Ragnarok available, Belair lives to fight another day. A lot of that comes down to also who teleports second usually has the advantage coming back in to the laning phase, having more health chalice stacks, and that's what allowed Belair to just kind of get punished, and getting punished now is Paul in the mid lane.
Oh, he's in a lot of trouble here. BigManTingz just puts down the Demon Queller. And SK Gaming find themselves basically in a tough spot here. Trying to play defense in the middle lane as Belair's caught up in the jungle. 2 versus 1. The Nemesis ultimate is good. Belair doesn't have an ultimate himself, so likely could fall here, Toli. But nobody from eUnited can catch up. He's a little too fast.
Oh, the blink as well. Trying to body block as long as possible. Allows Benji the distance that he needed to find the Unchained. Great rotation from this Fenrir solo lane. Finding the kill onto Belair. Finding the kill also, more importantly, onto Paul. It was a textbook play. Unchained stun into Ragnarok. Paul goes Aegis to level 1, worried about the damage from the Nemesis and Musinkob. They don't really have CCs that he has to worry about outside of the slows, but once the Fenrir starts rotating, without those beads, Paul is dead every time, and the timing of his death was at level 11, just now ticking over to the level 12 marker, so at least he'll have that option available to him.
Pyromancer goes down. eUnited able to walk away safe and sound off of that. Now we've got a tie game here. 7-6. Everybody 35-3. And the Gold Fury going to be started here by SK Gaming. 50% already. And the United crowd is going to filter in. And that'll take SK off of the objective.
Yeah, against an Musinkob, you don't want to go for the Gold Fury without a better kind of secure. Paul's damage is more damage over time. BigManTingz playing the middle hunter is technically similar identity to a mid-mage, having the burst damage between the bees, between the stinger as well.
Could be a thought process the players are looking to punish. For now, the left side lane looks traditional. Vetium running away.
Doesn't have that much lifesteal, is the Freya. Only tier 2 version of the Bancroft's talent. But Benji, all the way on the left side of the map.
And there's Neilmah surrounded by a couple of different players. Benji and Vetium being 2 of them, and Vetium being the killer. So SK Gaming now on the way to the left-hand side. Paul's here. Sam for Soccer's here. Zapman's here. And of course, Ronnie is here as well. Belair showing up. Walking right on through. Gold Fury started by SK one more time.
IceIceBaby looking for the flank all the way around. I don't think he got spotted out. Sam for Soccer does finally sniff it out, trying to stun him out. Gold Fury less than 25% health.
Meanwhile, the jump forward is going to keep Sam for Soccer at bay. Gold Fury does go the way of SK Gaming, and they're going to inch forward, but the team fight after the fact could be problematic. Zapman down low. He's going to be the target. Blink forward. The Aegis is good, but the basics are one stronger. Benji gets one south side. IceIceBaby gets one north side. BigManTingz goes all the way to the west, and eUnited now looking east towards the fire giant. IceIceBaby crossing the street here. I think it's a tall order, and it won't be the fire giant. IceIceBaby just crossing the street to go to his speed buff.
The opponent's speed buff. He's like, all right, I'm tired of being down and out. It's surprising to see IceIceBaby come back into this game because he was about 2 to 3 levels behind, but he actually now, after that last skirmish, having a 2-level lead in his own right. Very frisky call for SK Gaming to go for this Gold Fury, knowing that Neilmah was dead. But they did a lot of damage to eUnited on the return side. That triple hit mounted archery from Zapman is what forced a couple members from eUnited back.
Neilmah getting picked up by the dog. Yeah. He'll be knocked up by the Fire Giant. A nice play. Benji's in trouble, but it's Vetium cleaning things up. Sam for Soccer on the other end takes care of Vetium with a double kill for himself. And Belair is able to help out as well. It's a 3 for 2. Here comes Belair trying to look at BigManTingz. The hammer, good enough. Belair dies to the dots. The bees! And it's a 4 for 3. Wow. Nobody wins that team fight. Technically, SK Gaming come out on top totally, but boy, was it dirty.
This is where I look at item builds and I'm thinking like, all right, who has the height of Urchin in this 25-kill game at 17 minutes? But so far, nobody. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody picks it up here momentarily. Benji, yet again, doing a great job forcing people out of position. This time it was Neilmah that got a little bit too ahead of himself, and you forced the little dwarf into the Fire Giant pit. Easy pickings there. But then afterwards, just too much AoE damage from the objective. eUnited still a little too underleveled, not as resilient as they thought they were.
Yeah, it was a little bit rough there. Not able to really make it happen in the Fire Giant pit. We'll see how it all unfolds. Just shy of 18 minutes here, folks. It's 14-11. SK with a very slight lead. But eUnited trying to play a cheeky one. You like that word, cheeky? I feel like it sounds weird with an American accent. So you gotta say it like Hindu Man. Can you say it like Hindu Man? Alright. Looking at the Fire Giant, that's quite cheeky. You wanna give it a go? You wanna give it a go? Totally not even gonna partake.
I was just gonna let you hang on that one. Normally I bail you out of these situations.
Little cheeky trotters over there.
Hindu's just rolling his eyes right now at you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. eUnited kind of tough here. SK Gaming has had a couple of surprises. It looks like eUnited playing with Peaky Blinders on.
I like that show, actually. It's a good show. But this is the battle of the soul laners, honestly, between who makes the more effective rotation. Because Belair plays cleanup crew, but Benji was the one that started it all happening in the last Fire Giant pit. I think it's a little too early to go for the Fire Giant, honestly. Despite having, like, what was it, a 5-on-1? It took them too long to regroup onto it.
eUnited gonna pick up the objective, and they're gonna look for Belair. The follow-up from the doggo and IceIce will put him on IceIce. Belair falls down at the 5-on-4. Here comes the Jean Kui. What up, demons? It's your boy! Paul puts Benji down. Big plays for days coming out from Paul. Vetium surrounded and pounded. Sam for Soccer. He's going to round down as he puts one away. And the mid lane will be the aggression point for SK Gaming. Neilmah taking the tower, everybody low.
He missed the swarms. BMT could have cleaned up Sam for Soccer being that aggressive. It's going to allow SK Gaming now to look for a little flank. Maybe no, just going for the red buff here. BMT leading the charge on the left-hand side. Already disengaging. Now it's all up to Callus.
Paul's here, and Neilmah will get the last hit, but the damage be done. Paul's here! 5, 3, and 6 for the Demon Queller.
Wow.
And SK Gaming take the kill lead and extend their gold lead to 4K.
That shell, so close. And even Benji was looking for the disengage as well. So that was the perfect escape path. If Paul doesn't cancel, or if Paul does cancel his back, he's dead because of Benji. Either way. But what I wanted to say was, I think that eUnited, in hindsight, made a poor decision by going onto Belair that aggressively because they all clumped up and grouped up. And when you're that close to a Jean Queen, when he's level 17, 4 items deep, his damage is skyrocketing. He was 2 levels behind at one point in the game, but after that one team fight, already catching up.
I mean, it's interesting watching Jean Kui do his thing because he just heals for so much. He deals so much. It's a devastating character when played correctly. Benji's ultimate forced out by Neilmah. SK Gaming on the aggression. It's Belair. Belair has the flank. He's going to find one hit, look for the hammer toss. There's a slam down. Nice shield for that. Not using the ultimate just yet, and I like that call.
He needs to wait to know when IceIceBaby's dash is down. Because he knows the blink is down from the tier 1 mid tower when, what was it, Paul was backing and that happened, the whole shenanigans. But instead, saving it for a rainy day with all that damage onto IceIceBaby and Benji, forcing out their ultimates, this is going to allow SK Gaming to be aggressive.
Double whoop here. SK looking for the run. There's a double stun coming out from Belair. Ice on the flank, gotta be aware. But Sam for soccer number 2, starting it off hot. There's Belair off of the backside, putting down Collis. It's a 5-on-3 already. Sammy's gonna blink forward and get lifted by Vetium. The tier 2 tower will be turned around on, and this will quickly crumble. And SK Gaming retreating back. Belair all the way back to base. The rest of the squad looking for the objective most likely.
So even though it was a 5-on-5 team fight, SK Gaming knew that they had 5-on-3 ultimate advantages. With Ragnarok and Divine Judgment being down from that solo tier 1 tower, that was an easy, aggressive opportunity as SK Gaming are the ones now attempting this Fire Giant.
IceIceBaby, a little bit too much damage. That Zhang-Kui, can you call that poke? I mean,
when you're about to die to Zhang-Kui.
It does way too much damage.
Good trade.
Ult for ult.
Yeah, especially when you have cooldown reduction there.
Not too bad of a play there. eUnited now, down quite a bit actually. About 8,000 SK's junior.
I was about to say, yeah, at 23-minute mark, that's a little sketchy, considering that there's also 2 more tier 2 towers. So that 8,000, yeah, 3,000 on top. What do you get, Tom?
I mean, so 12?
Close. 11.
8 plus 4?
It's 3,000 gold.
Oh, well, what if you carry the 1?
That's how you go from 8 to double digits.
But what if you use imaginary numbers, like 11 and
then
30-12?
Then you're just irrational as well. Why would you do such a thing?
Well, I mean, that's what you got to do, man.
Only real numbers, Tom.
Ah, real numbers.
What?
SK Gaming have all the real numbers on their side.
I'm waiting for
things.
Doug to call us both nerds after this.
Well, Vetium's in trouble as 3 players are looking to shove him into a locker. Zapman's the bully. Number 19 for SK Gaming. And eUnited are on the back foot. IceIce has to go defend. Left side, Phoenix is going to be the target. SK jumps forward. Neilmah misses the hammer. The Phoenix already in trouble. Benji's going back to the pound as well. Zapman 4, 1, and 7. The left side bird is down, Dolly, and they're looking for the big one.
They got the coerce, the draconic form coerce out of Neilmah. They're coming back after losing game 1 to win 2 in a row. Paul, lights out performance on him.
Yeah, 6-3 and 9 before it's done. Sammy for soccer is going to take IceIce with him. And 22 is what SK wind up in a long, long, long battle. 2 games to 1 versus eUnited after 3.
And honestly, remember that trading off of the ultimate where Vetium used the ultimate for that? Because of that pick onto Vetium, that enabled the ending of the game. So in a way, Sam for Soccer was the nail in the coffin that SK needed to find their second victory in this best-of-5 set.
Collis looks bewildered right now. He looks like, and I can't read lips, but it looks like, just from his body language and what he did with his hands there, it looks like we did everything right. What do we do? And frankly, well, that's a conversation or not, let's pretend it is. Frankly, eUnited did do a lot of things correctly here.
Yes. The thing is, this is a best-of-5 meta, and these teams are really trying to figure out what's working for each team and how they can pick it apart. So far, outside of the top picks of Merlin, Arthur, Xbalanque, the meta picks of this best-of-5 set are Camisards and Fafnir.
Very interesting to see where these teams have gone. I loved the Zhang-Kui selection. Just absolutely lights out for Paul. Again, Paul excels when he's able to be aggressive. Put the foot on the gas and just close your eyes. That's what he's about. Open your eyes. They got a victory. Game 4 coming up next, but first, the desk.
Be more than happy to break it down here for
My
you,
eyes
Tom.
are closed. Did they win?
Yeah, they won.
Oh, they won. They did win.
Yes,
Okay, nice.
it happened
I
that
opened
fast,
them and I saw. I saw the win.
You saw it behind the eyes, or
No, only when I opened them.
I got you. Well, it was a big win that came out for SK in that game. And Taco, it was, I don't know if it was that close. It felt kind of dominant from them. They got a big DS side in the middle of the game, too. They were able to get a couple FGs. I mean, this game, they really broke it open.
I think the close aspect kind of went out the window right around the last 15 minutes of that game. I think that was the period of time where SK were just very clearly in control, and a lot of that centralizing around Paul and his patience with those Zhongkui ultimates.
Yeah, Paul showing Zhongkui. There was that play by the Tier 1 tower over in dual lane where he trades his life out but absolutely blows up. I think it was Vetium on the Freya. And that's another thing that's important. They did a good job controlling Vetium this game. You can't let this Freya get out of control. And this game, they absolutely didn't. SK Gaming felt like they were in control. And for you, it might have been Paul. For me, I think it might have been Belair. He's been having a set so far. I've been very impressed.
He's been having a pretty impressive, in general, Season 6. I loved what he was able to provide on that Bologna. The Eagles rally as well, adding on all those boosted protections. So even through the nemesis, I think IceIceBaby just could not seem to find enough of a punch to really bring down all of SK together.
No, it was too difficult of a task. This SK squad was hard to break through. They had the Fafnir, the Bologna, even the Achilles. It was hard to find targets to actually kill. Even the Zhongkui was hard to take down as well. So I think SK did a good job drafting, which has been more and more important for me. I also think Zapman's been showing up. I mean, he wasn't maybe the hero of this game, but everyone on SK has just been kind of doing their job when needed, and then they all have potential, and I mean all of them, to be the one that pops off on any given game. It's been at Belair, but last year it was all Paul and Sam. We know Zap can do it too. I mean, this team is starting to look scary.
It's just a well-oiled machine, and this is a team that very clearly has synergy surrounding them. You think it's got something to do with the fact that their team is powered by names?
Yes, that their names are all just their names. Like,
yes.
Belair is actually Ronnie Belair's last name, and Sam is Sam's name. And yeah, I think there's some big synergy there.
It's a big brain plays, that's for sure. But
Neil's name is spelled correctly now.
Neil, that's
goodness.
his full name, just without the space. That's not a prank, by the way. And then, of course, I mean, Steven Zappas.
Yeah.
Zapman.
Steven Zappas. That's a cool name, isn't it? He did the right thing.
To be fair, this is probably one of the coolest named teams. They've got Ronnie Belair. His last name is Belair. That's just not fair.
It is a pretty cool name. I used to really like Old Obey as well. Those are some fun names to cast. But we can break down a little bit more of what these guys have been doing very well for you. Look at them stats up on the screen. Zhongkui is certainly good, but I don't know if he's an evergreen pick. I think Paul is bringing a lot of this extra value out of this pick, and they've done a good job taking compositions where it's hard to focus the Zhongkui. There's multiple factors on this composition.
Paul just understood when to turn the switch, because he didn't always open up the initiation with the ultimate like we oftentimes see Zhongkui's doing. They just run to the center of everybody, press 4, and then wait to see what happens. But I love what Paul was doing, actually, with a lot of these flank maneuvers, looking to drop the card, apply the slows, and then, if necessary, sometimes he would even open up with a stun just to try and buy his team a little bit more time to rotate fully into the engagement, and then you would start to see some of the collapse come through from SK. A lot of different pincer maneuvers that took place through in the laning phases specifically, I think, because they were just trying to isolate the different members from eUnited. They essentially just kept Vetium suppressed. They kept BigManTingz, I think, shut out from being able to really come back into this one as well. And of course, when your carries aren't able to function, your jungler's going to suffer as well.